They're tourist visas that they get to come into the United States or into our territories just simply to give birth. They'll come in the 8th month, maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks left, give birth here, have a child, then they move back to China, raise a person underneath the communist regime, even though they're a citizen of the United States, and they come back over here. And in some cases, we see that they go to their universities, they're stealing intellectual property, and it's absolutely been a national security issue. This is truly a national security risk that we're having.
Reform, and the last one was in 1986. So I think while this was a really great outcome for us, I think we need to take it a step further and think about an immigration reform, work with both sides, both the Democrats and Republicans, to find some commonality, to find some pathway to citizenship for these undocumented immigrants who have contributed so much to society. So, like I said, good news, but I think we need to do more.
I think that this has been grossly abused in recent years, okay? And that is the case that was being made by the plaintiffs in the case, and we're very sympathetic to that because it is a serious problem. We have it's become a birthing tourism, they call it, a trend where people will just come and you just come onto the soil and have your child, and then they're able to avail themselves of the welfare state and everything else. It's been abused. It's one of those things that was intended to serve a noble and important purpose, and has been thwarted and overused and abused.
Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of The Conservative Libertarian. All right, welcome back, guys. We got another one today. All right, we got another one. We're going to be talking about something that's very, very important, man. We've been dealing with the illegal immigration issue for some time now. I mean, we've been dealing with this issue for decades, right? What I'm saying, way before I was even involved in politics, like seriously, what I'm saying, way before I even knew of how big of a problem it was, what I'm saying, and it really solidified in my brain once we saw the footage of what Biden was doing. The images and videos that we saw with people crossing the borders, and we were just giving all these guys just asylum and not vetting them, and then all these killings and murders start happening around the country. Girls, young, people losing their lives to just ridiculous, unnecessary circumstances, what I'm saying, because of unfettered migration. The Supreme Court sent down a ruling because if you don't know, when Trump was elected and when he went into office, on his first day, he signed an executive order to abolish birthright citizenship. A lot of people were freaking out about that because they thought that would mean something for black people or whatever, when it's not for that. We've already established, and a lot of these people don't understand also too, like, black people are established, like, we are Americans, right? They don't understand that concept. I don't know what history books they're reading or whatever, but we are Americans. It's written in the clause, it's written in the Constitution, right? So I don't get these people. This is to stop the illegal immigration crisis that we have with these kids who get born into this country, and they are able to reap the benefits and rewards of the system, and cause us a lot of strain on our social safety nets that we don't need. What I'm saying? We need our social safety nets to go to the people who were born here, who reside here, whose family have been here for decades. That's who it needs to go to, not to these illegal immigrants. But we're gonna go ahead and watch this video of Fox News going down and breaking this down. So let's get into it.
We have another decision, and it's a big one. It has to do with birthright citizenship. It was an executive order that President Trump, on day one of his second term in January 2025, signed the executive order. It was immediately challenged, and now we can tell you that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump's order to limit birthright citizenship. Shannon, we have talked for some time about the president feeling that he would not win on this one. The question is, why not?
Okay, Right off the bat, it says children born in the United States to parents unlawfully or temporarily present are, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment's Citizenship Clause. So look how this broke down. As we expected, the Chief Justice wrote this opinion. Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Jackson joined. Jackson has a concurring opinion in which Sotomayor joins. Justice Kavanaugh files an opinion concurring in the judgment and dissenting in part. The dissent comes from Justice Thomas. He is joined by Gorsuch, Alito, and then Justice Gorsuch apparently has his own dissenting opinion. So it is what we expected after the arguments here, and it looks like a bit of a split, but enough of a plurality coming together to say that the executive order that the president issued very quickly upon taking office is no good, and that if people are here, subject to the jurisdiction thereof includes people who are here illegally. Writing for the majority.
Awful. This is awful. This is terrible. And then people will say, the Supreme Court is the president's lapdogs. They do whatever the president says. They literally didn't do what he said right here. They literally didn't do what he said in a lot of these Supreme Court cases that were handed down and that got ruled on not too long ago. So does that narrative still stick, or is that just for when it happens, for when it goes his way, right? I guess it only happens when it goes his way. But for this one that didn't go his way, I guarantee you they won't be saying all that or whatever. They'll be saying this is a check on his constitutional power. At the end of the day, this is awful for the country. This is awful for our nation. For the American citizens who live here, especially for Black Americans who live here. This is awful because basically they're saying that the 14th Amendment is not as strong as an illegal immigrant who was born here is. Basically, that's what they're saying. They're saying like this 14th Amendment is good for everybody, even for people who were not supposed to be here and they had babies here, and the babies who were born here are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Like I said, it's basically almost damn near an erosion of Black rights, damn near. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it that way, because the only reason why the 14th Amendment was signed in the first place was to abolish slavery, basically, and also to free the people who were enslaved. So, and it also was for women rights as well too. It also gave women the right to, vote and all these other different things, saying when they did those constitutional amendments and stuff like that back then for the civil rights movement. So it's just like, when you think about it in that context, you understand that when they wrote that amendment and when they were signing that clause, they did not expect for people who did not reside in this country to abuse that legislation. They probably didn't know that that would be a thing later down the road. You know what I'm saying? Because, 2020 hindsight, they can't see into the future. So they don't know what the country's going to be like in, 50 years or whatever. So it's like, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But now that we've seen the illegal migration, how many kids are born. There's I think almost 300,000 kids who are born here a year that are birthed to undocumented illegal immigrants. It's like, bro. And it is like, what are we supposed to do with all these kids? Well, they're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So basically that means we got to take care of these kids. We got to take care of these kids when they parents aren't taking care of them, when they're in a whole different country. This is devastating. This is awful.
Justice Roberts says this: citizenship then and now was the right to have rights to freely participate in our political community. Talking about the 14th Amendment, the framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. That's a quote, and it looks like it's a quote back to some of the legislative debate about this in Congress. He says we keep that promise today.
See, I feel like they're not reading it right, because when you put the word free, right? Free born. Okay, who needs to be freed? Right? Who needs to be freed? Not the children who were birthed over here by illegals. They're talking about Black people. They're talking about people who are subject to scrutiny and, saying discrimination or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about the freeing of those people, women, Blacks, not illegal babies. Like, what are we talking about? It literally says it it literally says it. It says free born. I mean, I guess that's up for interpretation. I guess. They're the Supreme Court, so they are the ones who are interpreting the law. But I feel like their interpretation of this is flawed because it literally says it in the clause that it's meant for free. And I'm pretty sure Sotomayor or one of the conservative justices who dissented, they explicitly said that this was for Black people. This wasn't for you know what I'm saying, birth tourism, you know what I'm saying, or illegal tourism, whatever they call it, when these, you know, these illegal immigrants come over here and they have children, bro.
A loss probably expected by the Trump White House, but it is official and it's a thick one, so we'll keep reading.
All right, thank you so much. Let's bring in Jonathan Turley. President Trump went to this argument. It didn't go as they would like, and you have some thoughts as to why. Go ahead.
Well, this is exactly what some of us predicted after the oral argument. Chief Justice Roberts said rather pointedly when counsel noted that things have changed in the citizenship area and how people become citizens. Roberts pointedly said, well, the Constitution hasn't changed. And that is reflected in this opinion. It is a roaring decision in favor of birthright citizenship as contained within the 14th Amendment. That is despite the countervailing evidence of some of the drafters of that amendment that they did not want this to be something that would cover birthright citizenship. Now, having said that, there are very good arguments on both sides here, good faith arguments. And I'm just reading through the Roberts decision today, but it is a very comprehensive and good faith argument. What is left here is a decision for the country as to whether it wants to examine a constitutional amendment. Some countries that have had birthright citizenship got rid of it because many of us believe it's an incredibly ill-considered policy. We can make that decision as well, but we're going to have that debate, and we're going to have to agree. We really haven't had a national debate on this. This has largely been contained within the court system, and it may be time for us as a country to decide how we define citizenship.
All right, 14.
Yeah, I mean, a constitutional amendment, man, with the current political climate that's going on right now, I highly doubt we'll be able to pass that. We can't even pass the SAVE Act, right? We can't even pass like simple legislation, bro, because Republicans can't fucking get it together. You know what I'm saying? We have the majority. We have the majority in the House. I think we have the majority in the Senate. I don't know. I think no, we still need at least like two or three Democrats to vote in the Senate to pass things in the Senate. But in the House, we have the majority. So it's just like we can't get off our asses. They just can't get it together to pass simple legislation. So I highly doubt we're ever gonna get an actual amendment on this. Now, if we do, if someone tries to throw that on the floor and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, by all means try it, but I highly doubt it's going to get passed because these Democrats, they are going to do everything in their power to stop us from you know, getting this country back on track. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not even a Republican, but at the same time, I agree with a lot of what the Republicans are doing. I'm not gonna lie, I agree heavily with what they're doing in trying to, you know, make sure we get a grip on the country, man. We just have too many loose, you know, things going on, too many loose strings happening around in the country, and we don't have control. You know what I'm saying? Everything is in the control of either the deep state or, you know what I'm saying, outside influences. And it's just like we need to get control of our country. And the first step is to get rid of this fucking shitty ass policy. It's terrible. If anything, fix it, reform it, make it better, right? I wish they would have like let it have like a pathway. I wish they would have like opened it up, like say like, hey, like, you know, Congress, you guys need to do something about this. Like, you guys need to put out legislation to get this amended because it is a problem. We need to fix this. They didn't even do that. So yeah, at the end of the day, this is very disappointing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when people try to say the Supreme Court is the Trump's lapdogs, they do everything that Trump says. No, they don't. They have their own minds, and they're going to think for themselves, and they're going to interpret the law how they see it. And sometimes it's not going to be interpreted the right way, because I don't think they interpreted this the right way. But hey, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, whether or not this was an L or a W. Yeah, but I will catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.